Hello, and welcome to Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. On the surface, Ted Bundy was charming, intelligent, and polite. A man who appeared to be living the American dream, a law student, political figure, and respected member of society. But lurking beneath the charismatic exterior was a monster, a sadistic killer who stalked, kidnapped, and brutally murdered at least 30 young women across 7 states. For those of you that have been with me for a long time, you've heard this story. We are going to do a very deep dive on Ted Bundy at some point. But Ted Bundy was at the University of Utah Law School at the same time my uncle and my father were. Some of the young men they went to law school with tell stories of teasing Ted Bundy about always having scratches on his face. We're going to get into all of that when we do our deep dive, and I'm hoping to be able to interview a couple of my dad's old law school friends and my uncle. Bundy's ability to manipulate and deceive was so profound that many who knew him struggled to reconcile the man they thought they knew with the monster that he truly was. But how could one man maintain such a disturbing double life? What drove him to such unspeakable acts of cruelty? To answer these questions, we must explore Bundy's mind, an intricate and terrifying psychological labyrinth shaped by psychopathy and a thirst for control. This is Ted Bundy, the mind of a monster. Ted Bundy was born in 1946 into a seemingly ordinary family. Raised by his grandparents, he believed for many years that his mother was actually his sister, a secret that, according to some psychologists, contributed to his deep sense of rejection and resentment. But was this secret the root of his psychopathy, or were there deeper, more intrinsic factors at play? Psychopathy, unlike other mental health disorders, is largely viewed as a personality trait rather than a mental illness. In the case of Ted Bundy, we see classic signs of psychopathy from an early age: lack of empathy, manipulative behavior, and a profound sense of superiority. Bundy's teenage years were marked by small but significant acts of deviance: stealing, peeping, and manipulating his peers. But what's most chilling is not the crimes themselves, but his lack of remorse. Psychopathy is often characterized by an inability to feel guilt or empathy, and Bundy exhibited these traits early on. Despite the darkness within him, Bundy excelled at wearing what psychologists call the mask of sanity. His charm, intelligence, and good looks allowed him to easily manipulate those around him, concealing the monster beneath the surface. Bundy used his charm as a weapon. He preyed on the trust of others, particularly young women. His victims often described him as kind, even polite, which made his later brutality all the more horrifying. This ability to appear normal is a hallmark of psychopathy. Psychopaths are able to mimic human emotion without ever truly feeling it. One of the most dangerous aspects of psychopathy is the ability to blend in. Bundy is a textbook example of this. He could cry on cue, feign empathy, and even charm his way out of trouble. But underneath, there was a complete lack of conscience. Bundy's manipulation didn't stop with his victims. He charmed his friends, his lovers, and even the police, managing to escape custody twice, using nothing more than his wits and his ability to deceive. His ability to outthink and outmaneuver those hunting him was directly tied to his psychopathy. At the heart of Bundy's crimes was his need for control. Psychopaths are driven by a desire to dominate and manipulate. And for Bundy, this need manifested in the most horrific way imaginable. He didn't just kill his victims, he toyed with them, exerting complete control over their lives and their deaths. Bundy's crimes followed a chillingly precise pattern. He often approached women in public places, feigning injury or distress to gain their sympathy. Once they were in his car, he would brutally attack them, rendering them unconscious before taking them to secluded locations. His meticulous planning allowed him to control every aspect of the attack. Bundy would often return to the scene of his crimes, sometimes days later, to further violate his victims' bodies. This behavior, known as necrophilia, is not uncommon in psychopaths, who are often motivated by a need to feel omnipotent, to control not just life, but death itself. Bundy's psychopathy is evident in his complete lack of empathy and remorse, but what sets him apart from other killers is his meticulous planning and need for dominance. For Bundy, it wasn't enough to simply kill. He had to possess his victims, even in death. Even in court, Bundy's psychopathy was on full display. He relished the attention, often representing himself in court and treating the trial like a twisted performance. His lack of fear, his arrogance, and his belief that he could outsmart everyone, even the jury, were all traits of his psychopathy. Ted Bundy, the man accused of murdering dozens of young women, is now facing the death penalty. Despite overwhelming evidence against him, Bundy continues to maintain his innocence, charming onlookers and gaining media attention.
Every citizen who believes in law and order should spend a couple weeks there.
But Bundy's charm could only take him so far. The evidence against him was irrefutable, and in 1989, he was executed by electric chair. Even in his final days, Bundy never showed true remorse for his crimes, another hallmark of psychopathy. Ted Bundy's psychopathy allowed him to become one of the most notorious serial killers in history. But perhaps what's most chilling about Bundy is not the number of his victims, but the fact that, for years, he blended into society unnoticed. His ability to manipulate, to deceive, and to kill without remorse is a stark reminder of the dangers of psychopathy. The mind of Ted Bundy will forever remain a terrifying mystery, an example of what happens when a psychopath gains the ultimate power over life and death. Thank you for joining me today on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the minds of history's most notorious criminals. And also don't forget, I have 2 podcasts. This one is called Dining with Death. It's just the audio taken from old videos I posted to YouTube years ago. This is the current podcast. It's called Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. I post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday, and you will hear some podcast exclusive stories that you will not hear here on YouTube. Both podcasts are available on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. You can also join my Patreon. Some of you give a few dollars a month to help keep the episodes coming, and that is greatly appreciated. And also remember, our community is involved in a perpetual fundraiser. If you watch this little short video here on the channel, it will tell you everything we are doing to raise money to donate to police departments that have cold case DNA in storage that's never been tested. We are trying to help solve some cold crimes. Again, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe, my friends, and be kind to each other. And I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Bye.